On October 30, 2025, Laredo, South Texas appeared quiet, but beneath that calm lay a storm. U.S. intelligence had intercepted a secret exchange between the Lone Star Cartel in Texas and Los Diablos del Norte in Mexico. A single shipment, 4.5 tons of methamphetamine worth $280 million, was moving toward American soil. Enough poison for 18 million people, enough to scar an entire generation. What made this operation different wasn't the quantity, it was the method. No trucks, no ships. The cartels were sending their cargo across the sky. A Piper PA-28 Cherokee disguised as a humanitarian aircraft was preparing for takeoff. Destination: a covert landing zone near San Diego. Expected arrival: 2 hours. The United States did not wait. Operation Iron Tide was activated. For months, the streets of Laredo hid an invisible network. 84 hidden cameras, 57 audio sensors, and 12 satellite relays formed a digital ring around 2 cartels working in silence. Agents monitored every coded message, every shell company transfer, and every midnight conversation whispered from truck parking lots. 3 weeks of monitoring produced hundreds of hours of footage and nearly 200 intercepted communications. And then, one call changed everything. A midnight conversation between 2 cartel leaders confirmed the aerial shipment. More shocking was the precision behind it. Fake humanitarian documents, falsified flight clearance, and weapons on board. From a shadowy hangar across the border, operatives loaded the aircraft in minutes, protected by armed guards gripping AK-103 rifles. If that aircraft touched American soil, 18 million lives would be at risk. At 4:43 a.m. over the Gulf of Mexico, the Piper moved through the darkness, silent, low, and masked from civilian radar. Inside, 5 armed couriers guarded the deadly cargo. Their weapons gleamed under the dim cabin lights, waiting for a confrontation. But the confrontation came from above. From the deck of the USS Gerald R. Ford, a single FA-18 launched into the night, armed with AIM-120D missiles. The smugglers had cut the transponder and dropped dangerously low, skimming above the waves, but the fighter's radar pierced the darkness. At 4:55 a.m., the order was given: weapons free. 2 missiles tore through the sky at over Mach 4. The first detonated near the Piper's wing. The second found its target. The explosion lit the ocean like lightning. In seconds, the aircraft disintegrated, its deadly cargo sinking into the sea. The smugglers were killed instantly. The radar went dark. The mission was complete, but the silence that followed was not victory. It was warning. Intercepted signals revealed a second operation planned just days later. Another shipment, another fortress, another threat rising in the desert. At dawn, satellite images exposed a concealed production facility deep inside the scrublands of Tamaulipas. It wasn't a routine lab, it was an industrial fortress. 4 main buildings, 2 underground bunkers, and a fortified perimeter guarded by nearly 30 armed men. Here, over 3 tons of meth were being produced every cycle, feeding a pipeline worth hundreds of millions. The United States launched a second phase. 2 Seahawk helicopters lifted off carrying Navy SEALs, while Marine assault craft advanced along the Rio Grande. More than 70 operators prepared to breach the compound before sunrise. At 6:49 a.m., one word echoed across comms: execute. Flashbangs and smoke grenades tore through the compound as SEALs fast-roped from above, and Marines breached the steel gates with thermite charges. Gunfire erupted across the site. A mounted heavy machine gun was neutralized by a 30mm cannon from the hovering Seahawk. Chaos consumed the fortress. A stray round pierced a chemical drum, igniting over a ton of methamphetamine in a roaring blaze. By 7:08 a.m., resistance collapsed. 14 cartel gunmen were dead, dozens wounded or captured. The United States seized cash, ledgers, encrypted drives, and over a ton of narcotics. The compound lay in ruins, but destruction was not the final discovery. When agents pushed deeper into the compound, they found a hidden vault sealed behind reinforced steel. Inside it lay evidence far more unsettling than the drugs outside: hundreds of wire transfers, offshore accounts, encrypted ledgers, and coordinated schedules outlining shipments months in advance. The documents revealed a forecast bold enough to shock even veteran analysts: an expansion designed to flood the United States with 16 tons of methamphetamine every quarter. This was not a gang improvising in the shadows. This was a corporate empire with financial planners, distribution models, and international partners. In another locked room, agents uncovered a darker truth. 3 severely injured men, barely able to stand, had been forced into chemical labor. They were promised legitimate work, but instead were trapped into handling toxic precursors without gloves, masks, or rest. Their burns, scars, and broken hands told a story of modern slavery hidden inside a criminal industry. Minutes later, U.S. forces evacuated the survivors, and when the skies were clear, a B-2 bomber released 5 precision-guided weapons that erased the compound from the desert floor, wiping away one stronghold, but exposing how vast the network behind it truly was. When the smoke cleared, the numbers told one story, but the truth told another. The cartels were no longer just street gangs. They had evolved into multinational operations with the precision of corporations. Behind every shipment stood accountants managing offshore accounts, engineers refining chemical formulas, lawyers drafting cover contracts, and pilots flying aircraft disguised as humanitarian aid. Their empires stretched across borders and bank networks, operating through shell companies and forged identities that fooled even seasoned investigators. Operation Irontide had wiped out nearly 7 tons of methamphetamine and dismantled a key corridor between Mexico and the United States. Yet it exposed something more chilling. The war on drugs had changed shape. It no longer lived in dark alleys or jungle labs. It existed in data centers, encrypted chat rooms, and charitable organizations hiding billion-dollar laundering pipelines. The battlefield had shifted. The new enemy wore suits instead of bandanas, carried laptops instead of rifles, and moved through the invisible architecture of global finance. This was no longer just a drug war. It was an economic one, and the front lines were everywhere. In the quiet that followed October 30th, the Gulf of Mexico looked calm again, but the surface lied. Beneath those waves drifted fragments of steel and the remnants of a battle that marked a turning point. Operation Irontide was more than an interception. It was a reminder. A message delivered not with diplomacy, but with fire. Because today's cartels are not hiding in jungles. They are woven into global systems. They adapt faster than nations, rebuild faster than they fall, and seek profit in silence. But the mission continues. Not just in raids, but in surveillance, intelligence, and the quiet dedication of those who refuse to let darkness move unchecked. For every plane stopped, another prepares. For every fortress destroyed, another blueprint is drafted, and the only shield left is vigilance. Remember the date, remember the lesson. Operation Irontide was not a victory, it was a warning. And in the end, the ocean does not forget. It waits for the next ripple in the war that never sleeps.